The text went to the wrong number. I stared at my phone screen through tears that wouldn't stop falling, each one landing on the silk of my wedding hanbok like stains I'd never wash out. My fingers trembled as I hit send on a message meant for Minho, my alpha, my fiancé, the man who was supposed to bond with me today. You chose him, my own brother. I hope you both burn for this. The dive bar smelled like stale beer and regret. Somewhere behind me, a jukebox played something tragic in English. I didn't have the energy to care. Jay, my best friend Taehyun slid onto the cracked stool beside me, his voice tight with worry. We need to get you out of here. People are staring. Let them stare. My voice came out raw, scraped clean of everything but rage. Let them all watch Kang Jaewon, the Omega who wasn't enough to keep his alpha. I'd seen it this morning, walked into what should have been the guest room in our Seoul apartment. The one Yi Jun was staying in because tradition said the Omega's family should be close on bonding day. The door had been cracked open, just an inch. But an inch was enough. Enough to see my younger brother tangled in sheets with my alpha. Enough to smell their scents, Hun-hee. Minho's cedar and smoke mixing with Yejun's vanilla in a way that made my stomach turn. Enough to hear Yejun's breathless laugh, the one he used when he wanted something. The scream that tore from my throat had been primal. Minho had jerked up, his face cycling through shock and something that looked almost like relief. Yejun had grabbed the sheet, his eyes wide but not apologetic. Not yet. Jay, wait! Minho had started. I'd run. Still in my pajamas, I'd driven through Seoul's morning traffic until I ended up here, at the Rusty Anchor in Itaewon, where I'd changed into my wedding hanbok in the bathroom, because some shattered part of my brain thought, if I'm dressed, maybe it'll still happen. Maybe this is just a nightmare. But nightmares didn't text you 2 hours later with, I can't do this, I'm sorry. I love him. I think I always have. My phone buzzed. My heart stuttered. I shouldn't look. I knew I shouldn't look, but my thumb moved anyway, swiping to unlock the screen. The response made my breath catch. I'm not him, but if you want to send your alpha and brother to hell, I can provide the gasoline. Stay where you are. I blinked. Read it again. The number was wrong. Completely unfamiliar. A Seoul area code, but not Minho's careful, apologetic tone. This was something else entirely. My fingers flew across the screen before my brain caught up. Who is this? The reply came in seconds. The man who's going to give you everything you need for revenge. 10 minutes. Don't move. My hands went numb. The phone nearly slipped from my grasp, caught at the last moment against the whiskey-stained silk of my hanbok. I'd sent my devastation, my most humiliating moment, to a complete stranger. Another buzz, a second number. 9 minutes. Is your scent still sour, or have you started crying? Ice slid down my spine. How did he know what my distressed scent smelled like? How did he even know I was an Omega? A third buzz, a third unknown number. 8 minutes. We're already outside. Walk out alone and face their pity tomorrow, or walk out with us and make them fear you instead. We, 3 strangers. 3 different numbers. All responding to a text meant for the alpha who destroyed me. Jay? Taehyun grabbed my arm, his beta instincts picking up on my sudden panic. What's wrong? Who are you texting? I don't know. The confession felt like standing on the edge of a cliff in the dark. I texted Minho, but it's not him. My phone buzzed again. Just one number this time. Here's what you need to understand, Kang Jaewon. We need an Omega to legitimize our operations in Seoul's upper circles. You need someone to burn your ex-fiancé's world to ash. We both get what we need. My breath stopped. He knew my name, my full name. Another message, same number. 6 minutes. But let me be clear, we're not safe. We're not kind. We're the Beco pack. And if you walk out that door with us, your life will never be the same. Beco pack. White Tiger pack. Oh God, everyone in Seoul knew that name. The Korean Mafia syndicate that controlled half the city's underground operations. Ruthless, powerful, dangerous in ways that made the news bury stories rather than report them. Jay, this is insane, Taehyun hissed, reading over my shoulder. This could be dangerous. The word should have terrified me. Instead, it felt like the first solid thing I'd touched all day. Minho was safe. Yijun was safe. Look where safe had gotten me. Sitting in a dive bar in a wedding hanbok, texting strangers because the people I'd trusted had gutted me. My phone buzzed. 4 minutes. We keep our promises. If you want them destroyed, financially, socially, completely, all you have to do is take our hands when we walk through that door. I stared at my reflection in the black screen, a broken omega in white silk, sitting in a bar that smelled like failure. Behind me, someone took a photo. By tomorrow, everyone would know. Kang Jaewon abandoned on his bonding day, unless I change the narrative right now. 3 minutes, the final text read. Choose. The door opened. The bar didn't go quiet gradually. It slammed into silence like someone had cut the audio, every conversation dying mid-sentence. Every head turned. 3 men stepped through. No, not men. Alphas. The scent hit me first, rolling through the stale beer air like a tidal wave. Leather, smoke, rain. 3 distinct alpha scents so potent, my omega instincts screamed at me to either submit or run. I did neither. My fingers, tightening around my phone until my knuckles went white. They moved like violence wrapped in expensive suits. The first one through wore all black, his hair swept back with surgical precision, his face sharp enough to cut glass. Cold. Clinical. Like he'd calculated 17 ways to kill everyone in this room and decided we weren't worth the effort. The second alpha was broader, military posture, a scar cutting through his left eyebrow down to his jaw. He scanned the room with the efficiency of someone trained to identify exits and threats in under 3 seconds. His scent was the smoke, controlled fire, dangerous if provoked. The third one made my breath catch. He was quieter than the others, moving with an artist's grace, his dark eyes sweeping the room like he was reading a book only he could see. Something about the way he looked at people made my skin prickle, like he could see through flesh and bone, straight into the messy parts you kept hidden. They stopped 3 feet from my table. The one in the center, the one in black with those cold, calculating eyes, looked directly at me. His gaze tracked from my tear-stained face down to the whiskey glass in front of me, then back up. Something flickered in his expression. Not sympathy, assessment. Kang Jaewon. Not a question, a claim. My throat went dry. Which one of you texted me? All of us. The scarred one's voice was rough like gravel under tires. I'm Kang Minjun. That's Choi Seojun. He nodded to the one in black. And the quiet one is Park Daehyun. Kang Minjun. Same surname as mine. The irony wasn't lost on me. You have 30 seconds, Seojun said, his voice softer than I expected, but somehow more threatening for it. Stand up, take our hands and walk out of here with your head high. Or we leave, and you face tomorrow alone with nothing but pity and screenshots. I should have been terrified. 3 Mafia alphas I'd never met offering me, what? Revenge? Protection? A deal that sounded too good to be real? But all I could think about was Minho's text. I love him. I think I always have. And Yejun's vanilla scent mixed with cedar and sheets that still smelled like the fabric softener I'd bought. What's the catch? I heard myself ask. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Men like you don't offer help for free? Daehyun, the quiet one, smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Smart Omega. We need you, Seojun said bluntly. Seoul's upper business circles won't legitimize the Beco Pact's operations unless we demonstrate family values and stability. Apparently, 3 unmated Alpha Syndicate leaders don't inspire confidence. You want a fake mate? I said it flat, not a question. We want a real pact bond, Minjun corrected. Temporary, 6 months. You play the devoted Omega at events, help us secure our business merger, and in exchange? His smile was all teeth. We systematically destroy everyone who hurt you. My heart slammed against my ribs. Everyone? Your ex-fiancé, your brother, anyone who stood by and watched. Daehyun's voice was quiet, almost gentle. We're very thorough. Taehyun made a strangled sound beside me. Jay, this is insane. Maybe it was. Probably it was. But the alternative was going home to an empty apartment, fielding calls from concerned pact members, watching Minho and Yijun play happy couple while I picked up the pieces of my demolished life. "What's in it for you?" I asked, "besides the business thing?" "Revenge on the Red Fang pack," Seojun said. "Your fiancé has been laundering money for them. Small amounts, but enough. Your brother's gambling debts? Red Fang holds most of them. They've been using your family to destabilize our territory." The room tilted slightly. "Minho is what?" "Laundering money for our enemies." Minjin pulled out. His phone tapped a few times, then turned it toward me. Bank statements, offshore accounts, numbers that made my teaching salary look like pocket change, and photos. Yejun at underground poker tables in Gangnam, chips stacked in front of him, his expression intense. Timestamps going back 6 months. "He targeted your fiancé," Daehyun said quietly. "Found out about the money laundering, seduced him, convinced him that bonding with a responsible brother would solve both their problems." My hands shook. I set down the phone before I dropped it. "You're lying." "We don't lie." Seojun's eyes were flat, honest. "We don't need to. The truth is brutal enough." Behind me, I felt the weight of stares. Phones raised to capture my continued humiliation. Tomorrow's social media posts were already writing themselves. Omega abandoned at bonding ceremony, drowning sorrows in Itaewon dive bar. Unless I change the story right now. My legs moved before my brain caught up. I stood, the train of my hanbok sighing across the sticky floor like a king's robe trailing through conquered territory. My hand reached out. Seojun's fingers closed around mine first. Cool, firm, absolute. Then Minjun's hand found my other one. Warm, steady. Daehyun moved to my side, his presence a shield. "Smart choice," Seojun murmured. Then louder, his voice carrying through the entire bar. "The Omega is with us. Anyone who posts photos will regret it." Not a threat, a promise. As we walked toward the door, I felt something shift in my chest. I wasn't the abandoned Omega anymore. I was the one who'd walked into hell in a wedding hanbok and come out with 3 wolves. The night air hit my face the moment we stepped outside, cool and sharp, cutting through the whiskey haze. A black SUV idled at the curb, windows tinted so dark I couldn't see inside. 2 more men in suits flanked it, their postures screaming security detail. "Wait!" I stopped walking, my hands still caught in Seojun's grip. "I need to know something first." All 3 alphas turned to look at me. Minjun raised an eyebrow. "Now you want to negotiate? How did you know where I was?" The question came out sharper than I intended. "How did you know my name? What I was wearing? What I was drinking?" "That's not normal wrong number behavior. That's stalking." Daehyun's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "He has questions. I like him already." "We've been monitoring your fiancé for 3 months, Seojun said, his tone matter-of-fact, "which meant monitoring you. When your scent spiked with distress this morning, our people followed you here. Your people followed me." I yanked my hand free from his grip. The silk of my hanbok whispered around my legs. "So this whole wrong number thing was a setup?" "No." Minjin stepped closer, and I hated how my Omega instincts wanted to lean into his smoke scent. "You texted a number 1 digit off from your fiancés. Pure chance. But when we saw what you wrote," his smile was sharp, "we saw an opportunity. To use me. To help each other." Seojun's voice softened, just slightly. "You want revenge. We want legitimacy. No one's forcing you into this." I laughed, the sound bitter in my throat. "Right. I can just walk away, go back to my empty apartment and my ruined life, while you 3 go find some other desperate Omega to manipulate." "Yes," Daehyun said simply. "You could." The honesty in his voice made me pause. "But you won't," he continued, tilting his head like he was studying a painting, "because you're not the type to run away twice in one day. You ran this morning because you were hurt. Now you're angry, and angry looks better on you than broken." Heat flushed up my neck. "You don't know anything about me. I know you finished your master's degree while working 2 jobs to support your younger brother through university." Dahyun's dark eyes held mine. "I know you paid off his debts 3 times before this." I know you've been teaching underprivileged kids in Noan for the past 2 years, even though the pay is terrible. I know you're loyal to a fault, which is why this betrayal is destroying you. My breath caught. Stop. I know you have precognition. His voice dropped lower. Flashes of future events. Nothing concrete, just impressions, feelings. You knew something was wrong this morning before you opened that door, didn't you? The world tilted. No one knew about that. No one except Taehyun, and I'd made him swear never to tell. Omegas with abilities were rare enough to attract the wrong kind of attention. Dangerous attention. How? The word came out barely a whisper. Because 2 days ago, you suddenly changed your bonding venue. Daehyun moved closer, his rain scent wrapping around me. No explanation. Just a frantic call to the event coordinator. You saw something, didn't you? A flash of how it would go wrong? I had. A glimpse of Minho's face at the altar, guilty and relieved at the same time. The feeling of wrongness so strong I'd woken up gasping. You're scared of it, Daehyun continued. Your gift. Scared of what it means, what people would do if they knew. But we're not people, Jaewon. We're wolves, and we protect what's ours. I'm not yours. But my voice shook. Not yet, Seojin agreed. He gestured to the SUV. Get in. We'll explain everything. If you still want to walk away after, we'll drive you home ourselves. I looked back at the bar. Through the grimy window, I could see Taehyun standing inside, his phone pressed to his ear, probably calling for backup that wouldn't arrive in time. I could go back, apologize for the drama, let him take me home, or I could get in the SUV with 3 Mafia alphas who somehow knew my deepest secret and were offering me exactly what I wanted, the power to hurt the people who'd hurt me. My feet moved toward the car. Jay! Taehyun burst through the bar door. Wait, just think about this for a second. I am thinking. I turned to face my best friend, and something in my expression made him stop. I've been thinking all day about how Yijun used to ask me for money and I never questioned where it went, about how Minho started coming home late 6 months ago and I told myself it was work, about how I ignored every single warning sign because I wanted to believe in them. So you're going to trust 3 strangers instead? At least they're honest about wanting to use me. I pulled open the SUV door. The interior smelled like leather and alpha. Call you tomorrow, Ty. I climbed in before he could respond. The SUV's interior was all dark leather and tinted windows. Seojin slid in beside me on one side, Daehyun on the other. Minjin took the front passenger seat, and one of the security guys got behind the wheel. The doors locked with a soft click that sounded very final. Seatbelt, Seojin said. I almost laughed. You're worried about my safety now? After kidnapping me? This isn't kidnapping. You got in willingly. But he reached over and buckled me in himself, his fingers brushing my waist. And yes, we're worried about your safety. You're worth more unbruised. How comforting. The car pulled away from the curb. Seoul's neon lights streaked across the tinted windows, painting Seojin's face in flashes of red and blue. He was texting rapidly on his phone, his expression unreadable. Daehyun had settled back into his seat with his eyes closed, but I could tell he wasn't sleeping. His breathing was too controlled, too aware. Minjin turned around from the front seat. Penthouse or safe house? Penthouse, Seojun said without looking. Up. He needs to see what he's agreeing to. I haven't agreed to anything yet. I crossed my arms, the silk of my hanbok bunching awkwardly. You said you'd explain. So explain. Impatient, Daehyun murmured, eyes still closed. I like that too. Stop collecting personality traits you like about me. It's creepy. His mouth curved. Noted. Seojin finally pocketed his phone and turned to face me fully. In the SUV's dim interior, his features looked carved from stone. The Beco pact controls import-export operations across East Asia. Legitimate businesses mostly. Some less legitimate. We've been trying to expand into Seoul's luxury real estate market, but the business consortium won't approve our merger unless we demonstrate traditional pact values. Which means? A bonded pact with an omega, Minjin supplied, preferably one with a clean reputation and social connections. I snorted. Hate to break it to you, but after today, my reputation is garbage, And my social connections are going to ghost me the second they hear about the bonding disaster. Wrong! Seojun's voice was flat with certainty. After today, you're the Omega who was betrayed by his alpha and brother. People will be sympathetic, outraged on your behalf. When you show up at our side, they'll see it as you taking back your power, not running away. You're very confident about how people will react. I'm confident because I've already controlled the narrative. He pulled out his phone again, tapped something, and handed it to me. The screen showed a news article, posted 20 minutes ago. The headline made my stomach drop. Shocking betrayal. Prominent alpha Lee Min-ho, caught with bonded Omega's brother. Hours before ceremony, below it, photos. Min-ho and Ye-jun leaving our apartment building this afternoon. The timestamp read 2:47 p.m., hours after I'd run. They looked guilty, hunched, trying to avoid cameras. How did you? I scrolled down. The article detailed everything. Ye-jun's gambling debts, Min-ho's questionable financial activities, even quotes from unnamed sources about how I'd been the perfect partner, loyal to a fault. We own the publication, Min-jun said simply, and 3 others. By tomorrow morning, every news outlet in Seoul will be running some version of the story. You're not the villain, Jaewon. You're the victim who deserves justice. I should have felt violated. They'd spun my worst day into tabloid gold without asking. But instead, I felt something else. Something that tasted like vindication. You still haven't explained what I get out of this. I handed back the phone. Besides revenge, which honestly I could pursue on my own. Could you? Dae-hyun's eyes opened, pinning me with that unsettling artist's gaze. You're a kindergarten teacher with a master's in early childhood education. Your savings account has 42,001 in it. Your brother stole your emergency fund 3 months ago. You have no pact backing, no family money, and after today, no mate to provide stability. Every word was a knife, precise and true. Min-ho's family is old money, he continued. Lawyers, connections, influence. If you go after him alone, you'll lose. But if you go after him with the Beco pact behind you, his smile was sharp. He'll wish you just let it go. The SUV turned down a quiet street in Gangnam, pulling into an underground garage beneath a building that looked like it cost more than my entire neighborhood. 6 months, Seojun said as the car stopped. You bond with our pack temporarily. Attend events, smile for cameras. Let people believe you found your true pack after surviving betrayal. In exchange, we give you everything you need to destroy them. Money, lawyers, connections, evidence. We'll bury them so deep they'll never crawl back out. And at the end of 6 months, clean divorce, 5 million won settlement, a fresh start anywhere you want. Min-jun opened his door. New city, new identity if you prefer, whatever you need to move on. 5 million won. That was more money than I'd see in 5 years of teaching. There's a catch. I stayed buckled, looking between the 3 of them. There's always a catch. Smart Omega? Seojun repeated. Yes, there's a catch. Once you bond with us, even temporarily, you'll be in danger. The Red Fang Pack will see you as leverage against us. Min-ho's family will try to discredit you. Your life as you knew it ends the moment you say yes. But you'll be alive, Dae-hyun added softly, and powerful, and free. Isn't that worth the risk? I thought about going home, to the apartment I'd shared with Min-ho, to the wedding gifts piled in the corner, to the bed where I'd slept beside, an alpha who'd been planning to leave me for my own brother. I thought about Ye-jun's vanilla scent mixed with cedar, about 6 months of gambling debts I'd covered without question, about every sacrifice I'd made for people who'd seen me as convenient, not cherished. I want to see the contract first, I heard myself say, and I want it in writing that you'll protect me from whatever comes. Seojun's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Respect, maybe. Deal. He unbuckled my seatbelt himself. Let's go. I stepped out of the SUV into the underground garage, my wedding hanbok trailing behind me like a ghost of the life I'd almost had. The elevator opened with a soft chime. We stepped inside and Min-jun pressed the button for the top floor. The elevator was the kind that required a keycard. Seojun swiped his, and the number started climbing. 40 floors, 50, 60. The city dropped away beneath us, souls, lights spreading out like a circuit board of possibility and danger. My reflection stared back at me from the polished steel walls. Wedding hanbok, smudged eyeliner, hair falling out of its carefully arranged style. I looked like I'd survived a war. Maybe I had. You're very calm for someone who just agreed to bond with three strange alphas, Daehyun observed. He'd moved to stand beside me, close enough that his rain scent wrapped around my senses. I'm not calm. I'm in shock. There's a difference. I met his eyes in the reflection. Also, I haven't agreed yet. I said I wanted to see the contract. Semantics. But he was smiling. The elevator chimed. The doors opened directly into a penthouse that looked like it had been designed by someone who thought subtlety was for poor people. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul, furniture in blacks and grays, all clean lines and uncomfortable, looking elegance. Art on the walls that I was pretty sure was original. Everything was pristine, sterile, like emotions came here to die. Wow. I stepped out slowly, my hanbok whispering across marble floors. This is aggressively expensive, Minjin snorted. That's one way to put it. The guest room is down the hall, Seojin said, already moving toward what I assumed was his office. Second door. There are clothes that should fit. You can change while I get the contract. You just happen to have Omega clothes in my size lying around? I raised an eyebrow. That's not suspicious at all. We were prepared for multiple scenarios, he said without turning around. Due diligence. Stalking. The word you're looking for is stalking. Daehyun laughed, the sound surprisingly warm. Come on, I'll show you the room. I followed him down a hallway lined with more expensive art. The guest room was twice the size of my entire apartment, with a bed that looked like it could sleep 4 people, comfortably, and a closet that was already stocked with clothes, designer labels. All in my size. Okay, this is deeply creepy, I said, pulling out a black silk shirt. You know that, right? Would you prefer to negotiate in a wedding hanbok? Daehyun leaned against the doorframe, watching me with those took-knowing eyes. We're many things, Jaewon, but we're not monsters. You've had a terrible day. Get comfortable. Then we'll talk business. He left, closing the door behind him. I stared at the clothes for a long moment, then started peeling off the hanbok. The silk had absorbed the smell of the bar, whiskey, and desperation. I left it in a heap on the floor like a shed skin and pulled on the black pants and shirt they'd provided. Both fit perfectly. Of course they did. When I emerged, I found all 3 alphas waiting in the living room. Seojun sat in a leather chair with a folder in his lap. Minjin had claimed the couch. Daehyun stood by the windows, backlit by Seoul's glow. They all turned to look at me as I entered. Better, Seojun said. He gestured to the chair across from him. Sit. I can stand. Sit. We're going to be here a while. I sat, mostly because my legs were still shaky from adrenaline crash. Seojun opened the folder and pulled out a stack of papers. Standard pact bond contract, he said, handing it over. Temporary alliance, 6-month duration. You'll move in here. Attend events as needed. In exchange, we provide protection, resources, and systematic destruction of your enemies. I scanned the first page. Legal language, dense and specific. This says I have to attend all pact functions and present as a bonded Omega in public settings. Define that. Events, galas, business dinners. Minjin moved to sit on the arm of Seojin's chair. Places where we need to look stable and traditional. And in private? Separate rooms, separate lives. Seojin's voice was matter-of-fact. This is a business arrangement. We're not asking you to actually mate with us. Something in my chest tightened. Relief, probably. Or maybe disappointment, which was insane considering I'd met these men an hour ago. Clause 7, I said, flipping pages. It says I receive a monthly allowance of 5 million won for personal expenses. That's excessive. That's what an Omega in our social circle would expect, Daehyun said from the windows. Anything less would raise questions. Clause 12, I have to attend training sessions for self-defense, etiquette, and media handling. I looked up. You're going to train me? We're going to make sure you survive being associated with us, Minjin corrected. The Red Fang Pack won't hesitate to use you against us. You need to know how to protect yourself. I kept reading. The contract was thorough, covering everything from public appearances to financial arrangements to what happened if one of us died during the 6 months. That clause made my stomach turn. End terms, I said, finding the relevant section. After 6 months, the bond dissolves. I receive 5 million won and any additional support needed to establish a new life. What does that mean? Whatever you need. Seojun's eyes were steady on mine. New apartment, new city, new identity, legal protection. We don't abandon people who help us. Even temporary pack? Especially temporary pack. His voice softened, just slightly. You'll have been ours, Jaewon. Even for 6 months. That means something. I set down the contract, my hands trembling. This is insane. Yes, all three of them said in unison. Despite everything, I laughed. The sound came out sharp and slightly hysterical. You're seriously asking me to fake bond with 3 Mafia alphas I met an hour ago so you can legitimize your business while destroying my ex-fiancé and brother. When you say it like that, it sounds unreasonable, Daehyun said, but he was smiling. It is unreasonable. But you're considering it anyway. Seojun leaned forward. Because the alternative is going home alone, facing the pity, watching them win. He was right. God help me, he was right. I picked up the pen he'd set on the table, looked at the signature line. One condition, I said, name it. You don't just destroy them financially. I want them to hurt the way they hurt me. Seojun's smile was cold and sharp. Done. I signed my name. The pen left ink on paper like a binding spell, black and permanent. Seojun watched the signature dry before adding his own with practiced efficiency. Then Minjun, then Daehyun, his handwriting unexpectedly elegant. Welcome to the pack, Seojun said, tucking the contract back into the folder. We start immediately. Immediately as in tonight. He stood, pulling out his phone. There's a charity gala tomorrow night at the Shilla Hotel. High society. Your ex-fiancé's family will be there. We're going to make an entrance. My stomach flipped. Tomorrow? I just signed the contract 30 seconds ago. And in 30 seconds, the news will break that you've been seen with the Beco pack. Minjun was already typing on his phone. We need to control the narrative before Minho's family does. They're going to say I'm desperate, that I latched on to the first alphas who showed me attention. Let them. Daehyun moved away from the windows, his rain scent growing stronger as he approached. Let them think you're fragile and impulsive. Then we'll show them exactly how wrong they are. Seojun's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and something flickered across his face. Your brother just posted on social media. Ice slid through my veins. What did he say? He turned the phone toward me. Yejun's Instagram posted 10 minutes ago. A photo of him and Minho holding hands, both of them looking somber and apologetic. The caption made me want to throw the phone across the room. Sometimes love finds you in unexpected places. I never meant to hurt anyone, but I can't apologize for finally being honest about my feelings. I hope someday Jay can forgive us both. #love, #truth, #moving forward. The comments were already pouring in, half sympathetic to him, half calling him trash. But enough people were buying the star-crossed lover's narrative that my hands started shaking. He's spinning it, I said, my voice tight, making himself the victim. Of course he is. Seojun took the phone back. It's a smart move. Get ahead of the story. Make it about forbidden love instead of betrayal. So what do? We do better. Minjun stood, stretching like a predator waking up. We don't respond. We don't acknowledge it. We just show up tomorrow night with you looking so completely fine that it breaks their narrative. I don't feel fine. Then we make you look fine. Daehyun tilted his head, studying me again with that artist's gaze. Actually, we make you look better than fine. We make you look untouchable. A knock on the door interrupted whatever I was about to say. One of the security guys from earlier stepped in, nodding at Seojun. Sir, the stylist is here. Stylist? I looked between them. It's almost midnight. We called her from the car, Minjun said, like this was perfectly reasonable. You need a full wardrobe update by tomorrow night. Min Seo doesn't sleep much anyway. A woman swept into the room before I could protest. She was tiny, sharp-eyed, dressed in all black, and she looked at me the way a sculptor looks at marble, assessing, calculating. This is the Omega. Her voice was crisp, professional. Turn around. Excuse me. Turn around. She made a spinning gesture with her finger. I need to see what I'm working with. I looked at Seojun. He just raised an eyebrow. Fine. I turned in a slow circle, feeling absurdly like I was being judged at a livestock show. Minseo hummed thoughtfully. Good bone structure. Nice height for an Omega. The wedding hanbok did you no favors. All that white silk washed you out. We'll go darker, sharper. Make him look dangerous instead of delicate. I'm standing right here, I pointed out. She ignored me, pulling out a tablet and making notes. Hair needs work. The style is too soft, too traditional. We'll cut it shorter, add some edge. Make people look twice. My hair is fine. Your hair is safe. She finally looked at me directly. And safe is what got you abandoned at your bonding ceremony. We're not doing safe anymore. The words hit harder than they should have. I felt Daehyun move closer, his presence a steady warmth at my back. He's had a long day, Daehyun said quietly to Minseo. Maybe start with measurements and we can discuss the rest in the morning? She huffed but nodded. Fine, but I'm coming back at 8 sharp. And you, she pointed at me, you're going to let me fix this? Trust me, when I'm done, your ex will choke on his regret. Despite everything, I felt my lips twitch. That's a compelling sales pitch. I don't do sales pitches. I do transformations. She pulled out a measuring tape. Now hold still. The next 20 minutes were a blur of measurements, fabric swatches held up to my face, and Minseo muttering in rapid Korean about color theory and statement pieces. By the time she swept back out with promises to return in the morning, I felt exhausted. Guest room, Seojun said, his voice gentler than before. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be intense. Wait. I stopped him before he could leave. Why are you really doing this? The contract says you need an Omega for legitimacy, but you could have found anyone. Someone with actual social connections, someone useful. Why me? The 3 alphas exchanged glances. Some silent conversation I wasn't privy to. Because you were already connected to our enemies, Seojun said finally. And because when Daehyun saw you standing in that bar, covered in tears and rage, still wearing your wedding hanbok like armor. He paused. He said you looked like someone who'd burn the whole world down if we gave you matches. He wasn't wrong, Daehyun added softly. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded and headed for the guest room. Behind me, I heard Minjun's low voice. Think he'll actually go through with it? Yes, all 3 of them said. And despite everything, I smiled. The smile faded the moment I closed the guest room door behind me. Alone for the first time since the bar, the adrenaline that had been holding me together started to crack. I made it 3 steps before my knees gave out. I caught myself on the edge of the massive bed, breathing hard. The room smelled like expensive linen and nothing else. Sterile, empty. So different from the apartment I'd shared with Minho, where everything had smelled like us. Cedar and my own sweet scent mixing until I couldn't tell where he ended and I began. Except it had all been a lie. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I should have left it in the car, should have thrown it in the Han River. But I pulled it out anyway, my hands shaking. 17 missed calls from Yejun. 32 texts. I opened them against my better judgment. Jay, please, let me explain. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I never meant to hurt you. You have to believe me. He loves me. He said he always has. I can't help that. You're being childish. Just talk to me. Fine, ignore me. But you're going to regret this. The last one had come in 5 minutes ago. I saw the news. You're with the Beco pack? Are you insane? They're going to destroy you. Come home before you make this worse. I laughed. The sound came out jagged, broken. Come home, like I still had a home to go to. Like my younger brother hadn't just stolen my alpha and was now pretending to be concerned for my safety. Another text appeared. Minho wants to talk to you. He says there are things you don't understand. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I could respond, could demand answers, could ask Minho to explain how he'd spent 2 years promising me forever while planning his exit. Instead, I blocked both their numbers. The satisfaction lasted exactly 3 seconds before another message came through. Unknown number, Jaewon. It's Minho's mother. We need to speak. What you're doing is dangerous and irresponsible. Those alphas are using you. Please come to the house tomorrow so we can discuss this like adults. I stared at the message. Lee Hana. Old money, old power, old prejudices. She'd never liked me, had barely tolerated me as her son's chosen omega. Too poor, too common, too everything she didn't want in her family. Now she was pretending to care about my safety. I was typing a response when the door opened without warning. Daehyun stood in the doorway, 2 mugs in his hands. He took one look at my face and crossed the room in 3 strides. Who texted you? His voice was soft, but his eyes were sharp. Yijun, Minho's mother. I showed him the screen. They want me to come home and talk like adults. He set down the mugs and took my phone gently from my hands. Do you want to respond? I want to throw this phone off the balcony. Valid, he pocketed it, but impractical. You'll need it tomorrow for the cameras. Give it back. No. He handed me one of the mugs instead. Chamomile tea. You need to sleep, and your scent is so sour with stress right now it's making my alpha instincts go haywire. I took the mug just to have something to hold. Your alpha instincts aren't my problem. They are now. Pact bond, remember? He settled onto the edge of the bed, leaving careful space between us. Even a temporary one means we're attuned to each other. Your distress makes us want to fix things, usually with violence. Comforting. I'm not trying to comfort you. I'm trying to warn you. His dark eyes held mine. Tomorrow night, when we see them, all 3 of us are going to want to rip them apart. Literally, you need to be ready for that. Ready for what? You committing murder at a charity gala? Ready to stop us. His smile was sharp. Because if you give us permission, Jaewon, we will end them, right there in front of everyone, and we'll make it look like an accident. My heart kicked against my ribs. You're serious. Completely. He leaned back on his hands, studying me. We're not good alphas. We don't follow rules or play nice. The only reason we're not already hunting your ex and your brother is because you signed a contract that says we destroy them legally, but contracts can be amended. No. The word came out stronger than I expected. No murder. I want them to suffer, but I want them alive to feel it. See? This is why we like you. Daehyun's expression softened. You're mean enough to want revenge, but smart enough to want it slow. I sipped the tea to avoid responding. It was perfect temperature, sweet without being cloying. Of course it was. Everything in this penthouse was perfect. Can I ask you something? I said after a moment. Always. Earlier, you said you saw me in the bar and thought I looked like someone who'd burn the world down. But how did you even know who I was? Before the texts? Before all of this? Daehyun was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was careful. We've been watching your fiancé for months, which meant watching you. And I noticed things. What things? The way you'd get this distant look sometimes, like you were seeing something no one else could. His eyes searched mine. The precognition. You'd touch Minho's arm and flinch, but you'd smile anyway. You knew something was wrong, didn't you? You've known for weeks. My throat went tight. I saw flashes. Nothing clear, just feelings. Wrong feelings. But I thought I had to stop, breathe. I thought I was being paranoid, that my gift was misfiring because of wedding stress. Your gift doesn't misfire. Daehyun leaned forward. You knew, and you ignored it because you wanted to believe in him more than you believed in yourself. The words cracked something open in my chest. Hot tears spilled over before I could stop them. I'm not crying, I said, stupidly wiping my face. I'm just angry. You're allowed to be both. He didn't move to comfort me, didn't touch me, just sat there steady and present. You're allowed to be furious and heartbroken and scared. The contract doesn't require you to be strong all the time. Yes, it does. I set down the tea before I dropped it. Tomorrow I have to face them. Face everyone. I can't do that if I'm falling apart. Then fall apart tonight. His voice was gentle. Here, where no one's watching. Tomorrow will build you back up into someone terrifying. I looked at him. This alpha I'd known for hours. This dangerous, observant man who somehow saw through every wall I'd built. Why do you care? The question came out broken. Because you're ours now. Simple, absolute. Even temporarily, even fake. You're pack, and we protect what's ours. The tears came harder. I curled forward, trying to breathe through the pain. Daehyun's hand found my shoulder. Warm. Steady. Let it out, he murmured. Then let it go. So I did. I don't know how long I cried. Long enough that Daehyun's hand on my shoulder became the only solid thing in the world. Long enough that when I finally stopped, my throat was raw and my eyes felt swollen. Better? He asked quietly. No. I wiped my face with the back of my hand. But at least I can breathe again. Good enough. He stood, picking up the tea mugs. Sleep. Morning's going to come, whether you're ready or not. He was at the door when I called out, Daehyun? He turned. Thank you for not trying to fix it. His smile was small but genuine. Can't fix what's not broken. You're hurt, Jaewon. That's different. Then he was gone, the door clicking softly behind him. I managed to shower and fall into bed, but sleep was impossible. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Yijun and Minho tangled together, heard my brother's breathless laugh, smelled their mixed scents. Around 3 in the morning, I gave up and pulled out my phone from where Daehyun had left it on the nightstand. Still blocked numbers, but I could still see social media. Yijun had posted again, another photo of him and Minho, this time at what looked like my favorite coffee shop in Hongdae. The place I'd introduced Yijun to, the place I'd gone with Minho every Sunday for 2 years. They were claiming my spaces now, rewriting our history with themselves in it. The caption, finding comfort in unexpected places. Thank you to everyone who's reached out with support. Love wins, #new beginnings. My precognition flared without warning. A flash, brief but vivid. Tomorrow night, the gala. Yijun's face going pale as he saw me walk in. Minho's hand tightening on his arm. And something else. Something dangerous. Red Fang pack members in the crowd. Watching, waiting. The vision cut out, leaving me gasping. Someone was planning something for tomorrow night. Something that involved me. I was out of bed and down the hall before I could think better of it. The penthouse was dark except for a light coming from under a door near the end. I knocked softly. Come in, Seojin's voice called. His office was all glass and steel like the rest of the place, but warmer somehow. Leave it in. He sat behind a massive desk, still dressed, files spread out in front of him. He looked up as I entered, and something shifted in his expression. Can't sleep? I had a vision. I closed the door behind me. Tomorrow night, the Red Fang pack is going to be there. They're planning something. He set down the file he'd been reading. How clear was it? Not very, just impressions. Danger, threat. I moved closer to the desk. They're going to use the gala to make a move. Against us or against you? I don't know. Both maybe. I ran a hand through my hair, frustrated. My precognition doesn't work like a movie. It's more like feelings with images attached. And this feeling was bad. Seojin pulled out his phone and typed rapidly. I'm doubling security, putting our people on high alert. That's it? You just believe me? He looked up, his cold eyes meeting mine. You signed a contract that says you're ours to protect. That means I believe you when you say you're in danger. He paused. Also, your precognition has been accurate before. The venue changed for your bonding ceremony? You saw something wrong there too. How do you know about that? I told you. We've been watching. He stood, moving around the desk to lean against it in front of me. What else did you see? I closed my eyes, trying to recapture the vision. Yijun. He looked scared. And Minho looked guilty, more than usual. Interesting. Seojun's voice was thoughtful. Your brother owes the Red Fang pack a considerable amount of money. What if they're planning to collect tomorrow night? My stomach dropped. In front of everyone? Public spaces make people feel safe. They assume violence won't happen where witnesses exist. His smile was sharp. They're wrong, but they assume it anyway. So what do we do? We? He tilted his head, studying me. 2 hours ago, you were crying in the guest room. Now you're asking about tactical planning? 2 hours ago, I was grieving what I lost. I met his gaze steadily. Now I'm preparing to take it back. There's a difference. Something flickered in his expression. Approval, maybe, or respect. We go to the gala as planned, he said, but we control the space, our people inside and out. When the Red Fang makes their move, we'll be ready. And if they go after Yijun? Do you care? The question hung in the air between us. Did I? Yijun had betrayed me in the worst way possible, had stolen my alpha, my future, my trust. If the Red Fang Pack wanted to collect their debts with violence, why should I care? He's still my brother, I said quietly. I hate him, but I don't want him dead. Even after everything? Even after everything, I swallowed hard. Is that stupid? No. Seojun's voice softened just slightly. It's human, and it's one of the reasons we chose you. I thought you chose me because I was convenient. We chose you because you're strong enough to want revenge, but kind enough to have limits. He pushed off the desk, moving closer. That balance is rare, especially in our world. We were standing very close now, close enough that I could smell his leather scent, could see the faint shadows under his eyes that suggested he hadn't slept much either. Why are you really awake? I asked. It's 3 a.m. Planning. He gestured to the files on his desk. Tomorrow night isn't just about revenge. It's about sending a message to the Red Fang Pack, to Minho's family, to everyone who thinks the Beco Pack can be challenged without consequences. And I'm part of that message. You're the whole message. His eyes held mine. You're the Omega who chose wolves over sheep, who walked away from safe and into dangerous. When they see you tomorrow night, they need to see someone untouchable. I don't feel untouchable. You will. He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away, and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. Minseo will make sure of it, but the real transformation has to come from you. What if I can't do it? The confession came out small. What if I get there and I just fall apart? Then we'll catch you. Simple. Absolute. That's what pact does. Footsteps in the hall made us both turn. Minjin appeared in the doorway, looking alert despite the hour. Security just flagged something, he said. There's a car parked outside the building. Has been for 20 minutes. 2 occupants, Red Fang colors. Seojun's expression went cold. They're watching us. Watching him, Minjin corrected, his eyes finding mine. They know he's here. My precognition flared again. That same feeling of danger, closer now, present. They're going to try something before the gala, I said. Soon. Both alphas looked at me. How soon? Seojun asked. The vision crystallized. Morning light. Minseo arriving. Danger in the lobby. When the stylist comes back, I whispered. They're going to make a move when she arrives. Seojun was already moving, phone to his ear, voice sharp with command. Lock down the building. No one in or out without clearance. I want eyes on every entrance. Minjun pulled out his own phone. I'll call Minseo. Tell her to wait. No. I stepped forward, the vision still pulsing behind my eyes. If we change the pattern, they'll know I saw them coming. Let her arrive as planned, but be ready. Both alphas stared at me. You want to use yourself as bait, Seojun said flatly. I want to control the situation. I lifted my chin. They think I'm a scared Omega who got lucky finding protection. Let's show them exactly how wrong they are. Daehyun appeared in the doorway, already dressed despite the hour. I heard. What's the plan? The plan is you all stay here and let me handle this, I said. 3 voices responded in unison. Absolutely not. I have precognition, I pointed out. I'll see them coming before they move. I just need you to trust me. Seojun's jaw tightened. You've been packed for 6 hours. You think we're going to let you walk into danger alone? I think I'm asking you to let me prove I'm more than someone who needs protecting. I met his cold gaze, steadily. You said you chose me because I'm strong. Let me show you. A long silence. Then Seojun nodded once. Sharp. Fine. But we're in position. One wrong move, and we intervene. When Minseo arrived at 8 sharp, I was waiting in the lobby. The 2 alphas from the Red Fang car were already inside, pretending to be residents. My precognition showed me their next 5 moves like a chess game I'd already won. They'd approach when Min Seo entered, try to grab me, use me as leverage against the Beco pack. But they didn't know about my gift. The vision shifted. 10 seconds before they moved, I saw it. The taller one reaching for me, the shorter one pulling a weapon. I stepped aside at the exact right moment. The tall one's hand closed on empty air. His eyes widened in confusion as I spun behind him, using his momentum against him, exactly like Minjin had taught me during the brief self-defense session earlier. He went down hard. The shorter one pulled a knife. Daehyun appeared from nowhere, disarming him in 2 efficient moves. Seojin and Minjin materialized with security, and within 30 seconds, both Red Fang alphas were on the ground, hands zip-tied behind them. Minseo walked through the door, took in the scene, and didn't even blink. "Are we ready for your makeover, or should I come back?" Despite everything, I laughed. The gala that night was everything Seojin had promised. The Shilla Hotel ballroom dripped with crystal chandeliers and old money. I walked in wearing a charcoal suit Minseo had chosen, my hair cut sharp and modern, 3 powerful alphas flanking me like I was royalty. The room didn't just notice, it stopped. Minho stood near the bar with Yi-jun. I watched his face cycle through shock, denial, and something that looked like grief. Yi-jun went pale, his vanilla scent souring with fear. We crossed the ballroom together, my new pack and I. When we reached them, I didn't give Minho time to speak. "You look surprised to see me," I said, my voice steady. "Did you think I'd hide?" "Jay, please." Minho's voice cracked. "We need to talk about this. Those alphas, they're dangerous, they're using you." "No." I smiled and it felt sharp. "They're honest. You were the one using me. For 2 years. Yi-jun stepped forward. "Hyung, you don't understand. The gambling, the debts. I was trying to fix things. Minho was helping me. By sleeping with him?" I turned to my brother. "By stealing my alpha on our bonding day? That was you fixing things?" "It wasn't like that," Yi-jun whispered, but his eyes were already sliding away. "Guilty. Caught." "The Red Fang Pack sends their regards," Seojin said quietly. "They're very interested in collecting on your debts, Yi-jun. We made sure they knew exactly where to find you." Yi-jun's face went white. "You didn't." "We did," Minjun smiled. "Consider it a wedding gift." Minho grabbed my arm. "Jay, whatever they told you about me, it's not true. I can explain the money, the accounts, everything." I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. "Let go," I said softly. "Please, just listen." My precognition flared. I saw the next moment with crystal clarity. Saw myself yanking away, causing a scene. Saw Minho's mother approaching with security. So I changed the future. I stepped closer instead of away. Close enough to whisper, "I saw this coming weeks ago. Every lie, every betrayal, and I ignored it because I loved you more than I trusted myself. That's done now. Enjoy Yi-jun. Enjoy the FBI investigation into your money laundering. Enjoy explaining to your mother why her perfect son is going to prison." I pulled away gently, turned, and walked back to my alphas without looking back. Behind me, I heard Minho's breath hitch, heard Yi-jun start to cry. I felt nothing but relief. 3 months later, the temporary pact bond had become something else entirely. Something real. The contract sat in a drawer, expired and forgotten, because none of us wanted it to end. Minho was awaiting trial. Yi-jun had fled to Busan to escape the Red Fang pack, but they'd find him eventually. I'd stopped checking social media for updates. Instead, I stood in the penthouse that had become home, watching Seoul's lights with Daehyun's arm around my waist, Seojin reading contracts on the couch, and Minjin cooking something that smelled amazing in the kitchen. "Regrets?" Daehyun asked quietly. I thought about the Omega I'd been 6 months ago. Broken, betrayed, alone in a dive bar. Then I thought about who I'd become. Strong, protected, loved. "Not even one," I said. And I meant it. Hey, thank you so much for watching until the very end. If you enjoyed this story of revenge, pack bonds, and an Omega who refused to stay broken, please hit that subscribe button. I create exciting, intriguing Stories like this regularly, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from, or tell me which moment was your favorite. Your support means everything and keeps these stories coming.